I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here. Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of August 27, 2012, as prepared and submitted by the clerk, be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met this evening and we'll have another meeting 2 weeks from now. Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and no report this evening.
Thank you. Special Legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled. No report.
Thank you. Waters and Utilities Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report as well.
Thank you. Request for council action. For the Finance Committee, we have the following. 12160, 2013 material bids. 12161, Senior Disabled or Active Military Snow Removal Program. 12162, 2012 City Auction. 12163, RFPs for the city website. 12164, Agreement Medina City Development Corp. and the City of Medina. 12165, Budget Amendments. 12166, Medina Metropolitan Housing Funding Request. 12167, Zoning Code and Zoning Map Amendment. 12168, amending Ordinance 12912 and Ordinance 130-12 for the airport. 12169, real estate agreement with ODOT West Smith Road. Addendum to 11166-1011 Memorial Park Pavilion. 12170, Ray Mallard Park improvements, the splash pad. 12171, new phone system for the City Hall Police Department. For the Public Properties Committee, we have two items. 12111, new proposed facility for Spring Grove Cemetery, and 12172, Memorial Park outdoor pool. Reports from municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past Saturday on September 8th, we had the Tunnel to the Towers race, and we had 353 registered attendees, including members of our own safety forces, as well as Councilman Colasar and his wife Megan, and Councilman Simpson and his wife Phoebe. They raised over $20,000 just in Medina alone. The Medina event ranked number 7th nationally in the money raised, and Medina Township Fire Department ranked number 7th team nationally in the number of dollars raised. And Ohio as a state ranked number 2 nationally out of nearly 70 events across the country. For those that may not be aware, Stephen Siller was a New York City firefighter who parked in the tunnels outside of New York City in a traffic jam and ran with his fire gear. He was off duty on that day to the World Trade Center on 9/11, 2001. He was off duty and responded to help and lost his life doing so. So the Siller family started the Stephen Siller Foundation to help build smart homes for paraplegic and quadriplegic military personnel. This run in Medina was to raise funds for a home for a 20-year-old Private First Class Kyle Hockenberry from Marietta who was injured in Afghanistan in June of 2011. And I'd like to personally recognize and thank Mark Phillips, one of our LST directors, who has worked on these Tunnel to the Tower races in New York, across the country, and was instrumental in bringing this race to Medina. The State of the City presentation was given to the Medina Chamber on September 4th, and if you were not there at the presentation, The State of the City is available by going to the city website. There's a link there. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Medina TV website and also on Channel 37. If you go to the city's website, www.medinaoh.org, and click on the link, it'll just come right up for you, and you'd be able to see that presentation, or anybody at home that would like to see it. And last but not least, it was brought to my attention today that they had to take the signs down during the construction project on Lake Road, and some of the construction workers, as well as our own inspectors out there, are talking about the unsafe conditions with vehicle speeding through the construction zone. So we've posted 25-mile-per-hour construction zone signs there. They'll be up first thing tomorrow morning, and our officers will be out there to make sure that it's safe for both the workers as well as the many people going to the factories and offices there on Lake Road in the construction area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Durham, Finance Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's a couple things on the agenda that I'll comment on when we get there.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Baraducci, Police Chief.
Mr. President, over the last 20 years, the Medina Police Specials Unit has donated well over 70,000 hours of their time, again, without compensation. They help in a variety of events, and I think Saturday was a perfect example. The Tunnel to Towers race, which occurred in, I understand, a driving rainstorm, was policed and supported by members of the Specials Unit. Well, now we're asking for everybody's help. We are starting a recruiting drive for citizens that may be interested in serving as special officers, and we have two classes of service. One is for sworn peace officers who are authorized to be armed and will have law enforcement authority, and then the other is for unsworn officers that will have no law enforcement authority but will continue to help with special events, traffic control, and the such and the like. We require that they be residents of Medina County, be drug-free, and be able to pass a limited background investigation. If anybody's interested in serving on the unit, they should either come to the police department, pick up an application, or contact Sergeant Brett McNabb, and he'll be glad to email them an application. This is really a unique group of people, and their dedication is unsurpassed. And I think we all look forward to being able to build them back up to their authorized strength. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Hannon, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to note that our next boards and commissions will be this Thursday, September the 13th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just two quick notes. The Rec Center and the Medina Early Childhood PTA is partnering again for another Just Kid Stuff garage sale on Saturday, September 29th from 9 a.m. to noon. Admission for shoppers coming in between 9 and 10 a.m. is $5, and then from 10 to noon is $1. Items include anything from toys and clothes to sports equipment and more. There's no need to worry about the rain because it's all indoors at the Medina Rec. And lastly, our next scheduled Rec Advisory Board meeting is Thursday, September 20th, 7:30 a.m. at the Rec Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Update on a couple of our projects. Lake Road, we've started the pavement removal on the northbound lane. That'll finish this week. Next week, we'll do the soil stabilization, and the following week, we'll begin the concrete placement in that lane. Beechwood Drive, we anticipate completing the installation of water line and sewer lines this week into next week, and subsequent to that, we'll start pavement removal at the end of next week. We have two projects currently out to bid. That is our annual pavement joint sealing project and the Ray Mallard Fitness Trail. And as an FYI, this afternoon, the Board of Control for the city awarded two contracts accepting bids relative to the installation of a jet fuel tank and dispensing system at the Medina Municipal Airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson, Park and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. There will be a youth disc golf event at the Poolside Disc Golf Course on Saturday, October 13th, 2012. This event is open to youths 18 and under. This event is designed for kids who want to learn a new sport. The entry fee is $10. Friends and family are welcome to volunteer or spectate. And for more information, contact Sharon Jenkins. That's 330-461-3735. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Medina has a seasonal labor position available in the Service Department. This will serve in the Street Department as a utilizing them in picking up of leaf program that starts in October, third week of October. Currently, the Civil Service office located at the lower level of City Hall is starting today, September 10th, accepting applications from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and we'll accept applications until the position is filled. And this is not a civil service position. Secondly, in the last item, the Fall Appliance Free Roundup, is located at 8700 Lake Road. Will start today. Residents from the county as well as the city can drop off appliances without having to discard the Freon that usually has a charge associated with it. The pickup times are from 6 a.m. until 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, which started today again through the 14th, and then Saturday morning, September 15th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, the central processing facility is located at 8700 Lake Road, Seville. Thank you.
Thank you. Confirmation of mayor's appointments. We have one, Stephen Gallagher, Board of Zoning Appeals, as an alternate for a term expiring 12/31/14.
Move to approve the mayor's appointment.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Confirmation of President of Council appointments. We have two for the Medina County Advisory Council on Aging City Representatives. Barbara Ann Clark expiring 3/31/14 and Mary Hilberg expiring 9/30/15.
Move to approve the President of Council's appointments.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Hilberg?
due to my relationship with one of the appointments, I'll have to abstain.
Thank you. And also to give you a little background, we had 5 applicants fill out applications for the Medina Council on Aging. I contacted each one of the references of each of the applicants to talk a little bit about the applicant and get some background. I reviewed the applications, looked at what was probably necessary or needed from a variety of the backgrounds of the 5 individuals who were applying, and based upon the differences in some of their backgrounds and the uniqueness of their backgrounds and the references that I've contacted for each of them, the 2 were chosen. The other 3 were great candidates, and hopefully they'll apply for other things in the city. And we apologize for not contacting everybody in a timely manner, but we will contact the other members this week to inform them. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Abstain.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Notices, communications, and petitions. There are none. Unfinished business. None. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council? Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 158-12, an ordinance amending Section 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, by accepting the revised job description for the position of water meter technician.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Piccoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. This job description change is an effort to continue efficiency and effectiveness in the Water Department as well as other service departments. It was presented and approved by the Civil Service Commission. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 158-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 159-12, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund advances.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This advance is just a borrowing from one fund to another. This advance has been outstanding since 2006. We're going to repay the entire advance and then refinance 3/4 of it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 159-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 160-12, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to waive certain uncollectible utility accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. These are uncollectible either because they're too small to be worth collecting or because they've had a bankruptcy or a sheriff sale in between, which prevents us from collecting these amounts.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 160-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 161-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to solicit requests for proposals, RFPs, for drug screening and associated professional services for employees of the city of Medina.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for our drug-free workplace. We do this annually to get the best price for the use of our tax dollars. This provides random drug tests, post-accident drug tests, and reasonable suspicion drug tests, and it helps reinforce the drug-free workplace in the city of Medina. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Resolution 162-12 passes 7-0.
Oh, that was 161-12.
I'm sorry, 161. Thank you.
Resolution 162-12, a resolution authorizing an application for grant assistance from the State of Ohio, Ohio Public Works Commission relative to Issue 1 and LTIP program, funding for the Gunnison Court reconstruction.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This Ohio Public Works Commission Issue 1 grant is a program we apply for every year. This year we are requesting funds for the replacement and improvement of Gunnison Court, including pavement replacement, water and storm sewer replacement. Reason we're leaning towards Gunnison, the pavement out there is extremely, it is failing, if not failed. In addition, the water line is, there is no fire hydrant, for instance, on the cul-de-sac. It needs to be improved. Though the pavement is in that condition because of the very few people that live on it, it would never really rise to the level where we could fund it through our own priority list through our 108 fund. So we thought that this grant would be an appropriate way to get this project completed.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 162-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 163-12. An ordinance amending ordinance number 172-11 passed December 12th, 2011. Amendments to the 2012 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. These are amounts that have come in that were not anticipated and need to be appropriated in order to be spent.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 163-12 passes 7-0.
We have some additions to be added to the agenda. This ordinance 164-12, ordinance 165-12, ordinance 166-12, ordinance 167-12, and ordinance 168-12.
Move that those ordinances be added to the agenda.
Second.
Discussion adding ordinances. Will the clerk please call the roll on the additions to the agenda?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Ordinance 164-12, an ordinance amending section 94801A3 of the codified ordinances of the city of Medina, Ohio, relative to the limited senior, disabled, or active duty military driveway snow removal program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second included the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and/or the ordinance? Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. We started this program last year, and it was very successful. We had 39 participants. The majority of those participants, though, were disabled and not seniors, and the reason for that was the 50% of the median income was so restrictive that a number of the seniors were not able to participate. So we're asking with this amendment or this ordinance to make one grammatical correction, as well as to increase the median income from 50% to 65%, and it's our hope that that will open up and permit a number of those that were restricted financially last year to take part. I will, for the record, also mention that those 39 were able to be handled within 2 hours in total. So we do not feel that it'll be problematic for us to open it up and let a few more take part. And thanks to council for your consideration of it.
Thank you. And I believe the emergency clause is since winter's upon us.
Well,
Not quite yet.
and we're also we're getting requests already, and we've asked people to give us a chance to get this amendment through to council, and they're eagerly waiting council's ruling on this so that we can send the applications out.
Thank you. Any discussion on the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 164-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 165-12, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $1,140,000 of bonds of the City of Medina to pay costs of constructing, reconstructing, installing, upgrading, expanding, and otherwise improving infrastructure improvements in the city, including parking facilities, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, and including the acquisition of real property therefore.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
That was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second did include the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and/or the ordinance? Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could, I'd like to address this and the next ordinance since they both deal with the bond issue at the same time. We already passed the ordinance without an emergency clause to refinance some of the city's outstanding debt. The reason the emergency clause is necessary for these issues, this is for a new money issue, is so that we can issue them at the same time. When we issue debt, there's certain costs of issuing debt, just like if you're a homeowner and you refinance your home off and you have to pay for appraisals and other fees. We have fees in a similar way. We have fees we have to pay, and there's some economies of scale. It's cheaper to do your borrowings all at once. That's why the emergency clause is requested on these two items. This is to issue new money for the projects as you listed there so eloquently at the beginning of this, and the parking and improvements on the square.
Thank you. And just to follow up with the issuance of new debt and the refinancing of the old debt, I believe, and I'm not sure if you have the number, Mr. Durham, of the amount of money that we'll be saving as far as our debt service payments by doing this refinancing at this time.
The refinancing is going to save us about $1 million over the 10 years remaining on the issue that we're refinancing. Of course, the new issue is not a savings. It's just a new issue. But we're at a time of historic lows in interest rates, so we're able to do this borrowing very cheaply.
Thank you. And if I may, on behalf of council, we had a meeting discussing the priorities of council with respect to the use of the new money and why would we borrow new money. I think the goal of council would be to do those things now that can have the greatest impact on the city of Medina, both on the residents, services provided, and the economic development factors of the city to help grow the city at a faster rate rather than waiting in time to do these improvements until we saved up the money. With borrowing this additional funds, we still are borrowing 40% or using 40% of our debt service related to the capital improvement fund or the capital general purpose fund, which means we have 60% still available. So we're not over borrowing in any one account. I guess you can say our debt, our leverage is about 40% of the account, which makes up, I think, 7.5% of the income tax. So as a decision of council, I think everybody agreed, and there were some good comments related to the borrowing, that we keep it at a low amount for the debt service so we do not overborrow and put ourselves in a precarious position with respect to future cash flows. And Mr. Rose brought up the comment relating to the level of debt service and the comfort level of council related to these borrowings. And I think the citizens of the city of Medina would be happy to know that council is still being fiscally responsible with the money. We are taking advantage of the historic low rates, as Mr. Durham said, and we can do great things with it, hopefully. I think that's what we're charged with. But does anybody else have any comments regarding the additional borrowing? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 165-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 166-12, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $60,000 of the bonds of the city of Medina to pay costs of constructing, reconstructing, installing, upgrading, or otherwise improving infrastructure improvements, including sidewalks, curbs, and parking lots in the city, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
And I think Mr. Durham explained the reasoning for this ordinance as in addition to the other one about designating where at least $60,000 of the additional funds borrowed will be allocated to. Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 166-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 167-12, an ordinance amending ordinance number 129-12, passed July 9, 2012, relative to the jet fuel tank pad and containment area at the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Any further discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you. These are modifications to two ordinances previously approved by council for both relative to the installation of jet fuel at the Medina Municipal Airport. We did receive bids for both of these projects. The first one, which is reflected in Ordinance 167-12 for the tank pad, came in considerably under the amount authorized by council. The second one for the fuel tank came in slightly above that. In total, the amount previously authorized by council exceeds what we need here, so we're not asking for any more funds. We're just asking to switch the allocations around a little bit. The reason for the emergency clause, as we mentioned, these bids have already been received. There is quite a long lead time for the fuel tanks. We'd like to get started, award the contract and get started. The sooner we can get this done, the sooner we can get it in operation and start collecting revenue.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 167-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 168-12, an ordinance amending ordinance number 130-12, passed July 9, 2012, relative to the jet fuel tank and dispensing system at the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
emergency clause requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mr. Patton has explained this ordinance together with the previous ordinance, so is there any other questions or discussions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 168-12 passes 7-0.
Council comments?
Mr. President,
Mr. Colzar?
I just want to take a moment to publicly thank Mark Phillips and the other individuals and groups that took part or made happen this Tunnel of the Towers. I did walk it instead of run it, but you know, it was an honor to be in a group of, as you looked around the crowd, of all the different firefighters that came in from around Medina County and a couple outside in full gear and ran this 5K. It was amazing. And even though the weather was horrible, rain and everything, no lightning or anything, but it was an honor to take part in it. And I just wanted to say thanks again for all the efforts that were done to put this together. That's it.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
Mr. President,
Mr. Hilberg?
I just want to remind everybody there's a Ward 1 meeting on Tuesday, September 18th, 5:30 p.m. at Fire Station 1.
7 p.m.
7:30.
You can go at 5:30.
It's on my calendar, 5:30.
And fire station is fire station number 2. And I think that's located on Lake Road at 500 Lake Road. So it's a different location, but still the same, another fire station. Any other council comments? I just have one other note that on Thursday, September 27th, everybody gear up. It's another budget meeting at 5:30. So we only have a few left. So if you missed them this summer or this spring, there's a few left that you can attend. And we'll be wrapping them up hopefully in October with a final meeting going over all the different budgets in November, and then the final passage we'll have in December. So does anybody have anything else? Meeting adjourned.